Hi guys, I'm Danielle. Welcome to the Iron Ivy Ranch. This is a brand new homestead. We just bought this house and 37 acres about 3 months ago. It is very much a work in progress. Everything that we do, we are learning and doing it on a budget, and so we're just doing what we can every single day. We both work full-time jobs. I'm actually a lawyer, so I had to go in today on a Sunday. It is June the 7th, 2020. And I had to go in and work for a couple of hours. And then my husband works the night shift, so he's asleep right now. So we basically do what we can in the time that we have, and that's the way it's going to be until this place gets up and running. Right now it's, like I said, a work in progress. We've got a man that's supposed to be coming and taking all the trees. We got about 35 acres of woods that he's going to come and clear out. And once he does that, we'll get it all fenced and get cows and goats, and I don't even know what all we're going to get. It's just it's 37 acres of hope and opportunity, and I can't wait to see what happens. So this is my first YouTube video. I'm shooting it for the first time. I'm learning how this camera works, and I'll be learning how to edit and how to post, and I don't know. It's exciting. It's a whole new exciting adventure, and I can't wait to see what happens. But today, what I'd like to do is just walk you around a little bit, show you what I've got going on. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about what the plans are and the dreams for the future. So right here, I've got some lemon balm, and so this is my front door. That's my big screened-in porch. I love sitting out there. This is lemon balm, and I don't know if y'all are familiar. It smells so good. You just rub it in your fingers like this, and oh, it's just, you have no idea. I really wish that YouTube had like smell-o-vision. You know, that would be awesome, like on Willy Wonka. Oh, it smells good. And what I like to use it for is to make tea. It's very calming, or I like to dry it and use it for potpourri. I think that nothing smells cleaner or makes a house feel better than if you just smell lemon. So that's why it's planted right here in front of the front door, is so that when you walk into my house, you just get this smell of good, clean lemon. And that's my goal for these beds here. So these beds are 8-foot by 4-foot beds that my brother-in-law and my little sister built for me out of a barn that had fallen down on our property. We have a bunch of barn wood. We're making lots of things out of it. And I just planted it about a week ago. So I've got little sprouts coming up, and if it all comes up, it is going to be full to bursting. I think this is basil. You can see that there. And then over here, I've got dill. And it is going to be for pickling and things like that. That there is a cabbage flower that a friend gave to me. So if it all comes up, it's a big if, but if it all comes up, it will be fragrant and full and beautiful. Definitely a little bit of a cottage garden. So I don't know, we'll see what happens with that. And then over here in this corner is a little garden gnome. And I love garden gnomes. To me, I don't know, they're just magical and beautiful, and I think it's because of Harry Potter. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm a little bit of a nerd. And in Harry Potter, you know, at the Weasley's house, they have those gnomes that they have to clear out and get rid of because they'll bite people. And I don't know, it's the whimsy in me. I mean, we're called Iron Ivy Ranch. It's a little bit whimsical. The whimsy in me just likes to imagine my garden gnomes running around in the evenings and cleaning and guarding and getting into all kinds of mischief. I wish that were true. That would be an excellent children's book. Maybe I'll write it one day. So over here, I've got a strawberry bed, and these are some double knockout roses that my other sister got for me. I have two little sisters, and one of them got me these double knockouts. And let me tell you, I want to plant all the roses. And of course, this will get nice and big. Isn't that beautiful? That is just so pretty. I want to plant them everywhere. So then I've got strawberries. I've got, ooh, that looks ripe. This is a first year bed. Let's taste it. Let's see. This will be my first strawberry off of my own property. Let's see. It's delicious. Even whenever I buy strawberries from the store, I like them to be warm. I don't want them to be cold. And this is perfect. Sweeter than the store. That's the best thing I've ever had. So over here, I planted a watermelon in this same bed, and it has taken over. Look at that thing. Can you see how big this is? And if all these watermelons take off, I will have so many. Look, there's one. Pretty little watermelon flower. And I don't know what it is about this bed, but this watermelon plant loves it. And then I've got my sunflowers. I've never grown sunflowers before, but they are enormous. We had this windstorm day before yesterday that knocked trees down all over the property. It destroyed our dog fence. But these sunflowers, they lived through it. I'll tell you what. And then, I have another little herb garden that didn't do very well. I'm going to have to replant it. But this little guy looks like he's doing some gardening. Hey, Nomi. I've also got some blackberry bushes. Ooh, that looks ready. I wouldn't want to just eat these straight off the vine. I would want to take these in and soak them and make sure that, you know, there's no little buggies. This one's not ready yet. But that one, gorgeous. And of course, just like everything else on this farm, these are all first-year plants. So these will take off and get enormous and huge. And next year is going to be so different than this year. And I can't even begin to understand everything that's going to change in the next year. It's going to be awesome. But up this way, got my chicken coop. Let's go see what the chickens are up to. Y'all shut out of your house. We did not build this coop. This it's like we call it a Fred shed down here in Mississippi. I don't know what it's really called. Just a little outbuilding that previous owners left. Their door got blown shut. So these are young chickens. They're about three months old. And so they are not laying eggs yet. They should start laying eggs maybe in August. But there are 17, and I got lucky, and I think I've only got one rooster. So pretty soon I'll have more eggs than I know what to do with. But so in here I've got a ladder that I found on the property, and this is another ladder that my brother-in-law built for me that they use as their roosts. And back there will be nesting boxes once they get old enough to need nesting boxes. But we're not there yet. But chickens are just the best thing ever. I'm sure you all agree. If you're watching a video about homesteading, I'm sure you love chickens. Look at those guys. So let's go over to that part of this farm that takes up the most part of my time. And it's probably the place that makes me happiest in just about the whole world. This is the garden. It was an existing gardening area from previous owners. Who knows how long it's been here. But it came already fenced in, ready to be tilled up and ready to go. It was actually quite the undertaking to get it ready to plant, because it had been neglected for who knows how many years. It was the property was owned by some elderly people who had gotten older and infirm, and they couldn't care for everything the way that maybe they wanted to. And so it had a barn that was falling down, and a recent storm knocked it the rest of the way down. So my garden is no longer enclosed. I've got to figure out some kind of a way to clean this mess up. And right now it's just a snake bed. I live in East Mississippi, Zone 8A, and snakes are an issue. I have seen one copperhead that I know it was a copperhead, and countless king snakes, rat snakes, we have wildlife down here in the wild. That's just part of it. But you just got to stay vigilant and stay watchful. This is a concern, just because it is so close out here, and I'm out here all the time. But I don't know. It's what you do, whenever you live out in the country. But so this is my garden. It's big, at least for me. We only have 2 people in our family, and I got a lot growing in here. So let's walk through and see if we can figure out what this stuff is. But the problem is, as a first-year homesteader, first-year gardener, I got excited. I was ready to plant. I could not wait. I could not wait for the last frost date, and then we had some random cold snaps and had to put it off. And so finally, I was able to plant, and I was so excited. I mean, you have no idea. I've dreamed about this day. I've lived in town ever since I was old enough to do something like this by myself, and we finally had land, and I was ready to go. So I planted, and I didn't mark anything. So this is definitely the year where it'll be a surprise. Everything that comes up, I know what I planted, just don't know where I planted it. So I'm looking at things like, oh, that's some type of a squash plant. Don't know what it is. We'll find out whenever they start fruiting and flowering. But that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? You do all of this work, and it's always a gamble anyway. You never know if it's gonna work, everything that you're putting into it. But this year it's extra gamble-y. I don't think gamble-y is a word, but it is here. So we're gonna walk through. It won't be a very in-depth. I have to say I'm a little bit embarrassed. It's a little weedy, and I've had some pest pressure, to say the least. But it's beautiful still, and you walk out here, and it smells so good, and it's exciting, isn't it? So these are, again, some type of a cucumber. I planted them about a month and a half ago. Something just bit me. It's the wild. I planted these about a month and a half ago, and I had some pest damage. I think they're a little bit stunted. These seeds came from Baker Creek. Again, I don't know what they are, but they are definitely a cucumber, and I'm excited about them. Hope it works. Over here, I've got some potatoes. They're a little short too. I need to mound up a little bit more, give them some more room to grow. This potato is doing the best. I'm not really trying to be completely self-sustainable as far as potatoes go, so I've only got 6 or 7 planted. It's really an experiment. I've never done it before, but that one's actually taken off a little bit. It ended up with 2 little shoots, so that's exciting. Maybe I'll get a lot out of that one. These down here are lemon cucumbers. I had never heard of them before. A friend of mine asked me, please grow lemon cucumbers. It is her favorite. So I got out here, and like I said, I was excited to start planting. And I ended up planting about 1.5 rows of lemon cucumbers. So I hope I like lemon cucumbers. We'll see about that. This area over here, it had a lot of pest pressure, so there's not much growing. Over on this side of the garden, as you can see, that side looks completely different, and it's because of pest pressure. I'm trying to do organic practices. I'm not going to be trying to be certified organic or anything like that, but as organic as I can while still managing to have a garden. I think it's really important to be organic and be as clean as possible, but in my opinion, especially as a first-time grower, what's more important is that I actually have something to eat at the end of all of my efforts. So I will be as organic as I possibly can be, but if it comes right down to it and I'm facing either using some sort of a chemical or losing my garden, I'm going to use a chemical. I'll be frugal with it. I use as little bit of it as I can. I actually haven't used any chemicals yet this year, but I've ended up with 2.5 rows that are really struggling. So that might be something I have to look into in the future, but I'm not willing to lose everything that I've worked so hard for just to be quote-unquote organic. I would rather be self-sufficient, growing off of my property, and have to use a little bit of chemicals than to lose everything that I've worked so hard for. This is what I keep calling a sweet pea. I cannot remember what it's actually called. But look, little baby. Get the baby. This is not a little baby. This is some sort of a squash. Don't know what. Could be a cucumber. Could be a crook neck. Could be a straight neck. Squash is so prolific, and I did not realize that whenever I was planting. So I'm going to have squash running out of my ears. But, you know what? That's okay. I have lots of friends and family that I can help feed with this garden, and especially with the current times that we're in. If you're watching this years from now, we're right in the middle of the pandemic. We are right in the middle of some major questions culturally about race relations and things like that. And so times are uncertain. People are scared. And if I've got squash running out my ears, then it makes me really happy to know that if nothing else, I can, you know, help maybe alleviate some grocery bills. Because again, if you're watching this years from now, grocery bills are getting ridiculous. That's part of why I decided to do a garden that's too big for us, to preserve as much as I can. Because today, for example, I went to the grocery store for a few necessities, and I ended up spending $78 on nothing. Just nothing. And so, for me anyway, if I can help a little bit, I'm going to. So I'm going to have squash running out my ears, and so everybody else is going to have squash on their tables. So, over here I've got more squashes. Down here I've got zucchini, and I did not start these from seed. I bought these started from a local hardware store that also does a nursery. I had 6 of them, and I had some pest pressure and lost 2. The rest are doing okay. This one got a little stunted, but I think it's going to make it. Same with this one. This one is a champion. We should call it Rocky. Look, I've got blossoms. I think that the ones that are on the ground were male blossoms. Something just flew into me again. So they're dropping, but I have not had a pollinator issue. I see bees around all the time, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem. If they all keep dropping, I'm just going to manually pollinate. But I should have zucchini here in a week and a half or so. I can't wait. I'm going to fry it up. You know, I keep saying it, and you'll get tired of hearing it, but I live in Mississippi, in East Mississippi. Sorry, the camera was crooked. I live in Mississippi, in East Mississippi, and we like fried food. So that's one easy thing that I can do with both zucchinis and squashes is fry it up, and we'll be happy, happy, happy. This is an eggplant. It's looking amazing. I have never grown eggplant before. I bought these already started from the same place that I got the zucchinis from. And oh, there's a bug. Oh, they're leaves. It feels like velvet. I've never felt something like that before. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I don't really know what to do with eggplant. It's not something that I buy at the store. They're kind of expensive. I don't know. A lot of what I'm doing in this garden this year is completely experimental. I've told you before, I don't know what I'm doing. Here's some more watermelon. A lot of what this channel is going to be is, here's what I'm doing. Let's see if it works. And of course, if you have any ideas, or if you can offer help, drop me a comment, or follow me on Instagram, send a message, send an email. But we're just going to learn. And I think that is part of what I'm most excited about. This bed right here is, this is a pea of some kind. It's some sort of a runner. I need to get a trellis up. I've got this trellis up over here with these lima beans. You know what? That's, I don't know. This right here, I know, is Mississippi purple whole peas. They're specially designed for this climate and this type of soil. We have heavy clay soil where I am, and so I have to do a lot of amending. But these Mississippi purple whole peas are built for it, and they have taken off. And when I say they have taken off, I am not kidding you. A week after I planted them, they were 3-4 inches tall, and they haven't stopped since then. They love the heat, they love the humidity, they love this soil. So I think I made a good choice by planting Mississippi purple whole peas. And I think they're going to be different than normal purple hull peas that you get in other parts of the country. They're a little bigger. I think they're going to be a little hardier. These here are rattlesnake pole beans. And again, I've got to get a trellis put up. See how long this is? And it's sticky. That is almost as tall as me. You see that? If it was standing up, it would be almost as tall as me. These over here are spaghetti squash. And I know these are spaghetti squash because I planted them later than the rest of my garden, and by that point I was marking. But so they are, I think, gonna be a good winter squash that will keep well. I have a nice cellar room that's good and dark, and I'm excited. I've got about a half a row planted, and they're supposed to be super prolific, so we'll see what happens. And this is the row that gave me the most worry, but I think it's going to be okay. I started tomato seeds in February. In fact, before we closed on this house, it was just a hope and a dream, but I planted seeds anyway. I guess that was like an outward manifestation of my hope that this was going to work out. And when I planted these tomatoes, they looked so wimpy. And I thought to myself, and I've said to several people, I must be the only person who's gardening who can't grow a tomato. But they've bounced back. And they've bounced back a lot. Look at that. Can you see that? These little guys were wimpy just a few weeks ago. I'm going to prune off these little bottom ones. I don't want the bottom leaves to get wet. Look how big that is, though. That's gorgeous. And these are mixed. Again, I wasn't marking. They're mixed beefsteak, Homestead, and Roma tomatoes. They're seeds that I got from Lowe's. This was before I had started researching and found places like Baker Creek and Haas Tools. But they are big, beautiful babies. I'm gonna have lots of salsa and pizza sauce. What's interesting is I've got a ton of tomatoes planted. Probably like 40 plants, which is, you know, comparatively to other people, it's not that many, but for 2 people in my family, and we don't like tomatoes. We like everything that tomatoes make, but we're not tomato sandwich people. But it's okay. I'll give tomatoes to my tomato sandwich friends, and they'll have them some tomato sandwiches. But this entire row is peppers. That is for, you know, making salsa, things like that. And I got more tomatoes there. These are a hybrid, big boy tomato. I've got sunflowers, sweet potatoes. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to have a good garden this year. I've got a whole bunch of blueberries on that blueberry bush behind me. You can see that big green wall. That's a blueberry bush. It was established. It was already here whenever we moved in, and it is ready for picking. So in the next few days, I'm going to be harvesting a ton of blueberries and making a ton of blueberry products. As you can see, we've got a lot of work to do. It's going to be a never-ending, every weekend, every evening job. Andrew, he's my husband, he works the night shift, and he is just as excited to start this journey and get to know all of you. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our hope is that eventually, of course, I will never stop practicing law, but our hope is that eventually this place is our life. So often I think whenever people have their home, they don't spend very much time there. They're going and they're vacationing other places, they're going to work during the day, and their home is where they sleep. That is not my vision here. I want this to be the place that I come to and feel complete. At the end of the long day, after court, after I've been arguing all day long, I come here, I relax in my garden. Eventually, I'll play with my goats. Eventually, I'll cook fresh beef that I've raised right here. I know exactly what it ate. But right now, the best part is that it's fun and it's new. And I've got hopes and dreams and ideas. And I'm going to share it with all of you. So hit like, hit subscribe, go follow me on Instagram. Shoot me an email if you have any ideas or if anything that you want to see on this farm. And I'll see you next time.